budget. I believe that it is the single, well, it's really the major issue that the governor's office and the state legislature has. It's the only constitutional duty of the legislature. I've joked often how funny it would be if we went into session and passed a budget and Siney died, which is end the session after a week, and we'd blow everybody out of the water and say, well, what about all these policy issues? And certainly there are important policy issues to deal with, but hey, we've gone this long with the laws on the books. I'm not sure that we're that important to the ongoing affairs of the state to change all the laws, except for one thing, and that is adopt a budget. And I believe that what we've done over the last few years has set the state on the path that it's on fiscally, and why I think when you look at the Forbes report that says on two issues, job growth, again, over the course of the next several years, we're projected to be number one. Entrepreneurship, we're the number one place in the country to open a business as an entrepreneur. Why is that? When 4 years ago, 5 years ago, I'm maybe off on my math a little bit, but we were the worst state in the country per capita in our budget deficit. California had a larger deficit overall, but we were worse per capita. We had it was somewhere in the $3 billion range. And we're talking in a $9-10 billion budget, $11 billion budget. I mean, that's a major deficit. We had big problems, and we had to make decisions that nobody wanted to make. It was unpopular. It hurt. We still hear on the floor of the House, even with this last budget that we just passed, we hear that we're not investing in Arizona, we're not investing in our kids, and we don't care about kids. And of course we care about kids. Of course we want them to be safe. The whole issue with CPS. But the bottom line is, we're not like the federal government printing money, which the federal government shouldn't do, by the way they're doing it. But we're on a path to prosperity that I believe started with cinching our belt, requiring that we live within our means. We still have a little ways to go, and by the way, here in about 3 years, we're projected to have a deficit again, which I believe that in a couple of years, people are going to look back and say, wow, there was a lot of foresight in what we did 2 years ago when we put $450 million in the rainy day fund. There were a lot of people who said, oh, we should be paying off debt. Well, I got to tell you, the debt that we've incurred has prepayment penalties. It doesn't financially, it's not any different. If we pay off our debt today, we're going to pay that same interest. So I believe that it was smart for us to look to 2017 and say, we'd better start planning ahead. So my number one priority would be exactly those sorts of things that I've looked at in the legislature is what's happening in the future 3 years out. Let's not just look at right now, oh wow, we have a budget surplus. Let's find out where we can spend that money. I believe that it's important, especially, and the governor has massive influence over the budget priorities of the state. Legislature has to pass it, but the governor has a huge influence over what that's going to be. And I would spend a significant amount of time working with the Senate President, working with the Speaker of the House, way ahead of time, by the way. I believe that should be done in the fall, and I believe that you can work toward a process where by the time January rolls around, everyone's pretty much on the same page as to where we're going with our budget. And if we do that, I believe that we could continue to put Arizona on a significant path to prosperity, showing that we have our fiscal house in order and that we are living within our means, and that to the extent we have budget surpluses, which I'm hoping we start having again soon, after we've paid down the debts of the recession and other things, that we can start looking and cutting the check back and saying, here are some taxes that we shouldn't be collecting anymore. I believe our corporate income tax is too high. I believe that I'd like to see us phase out and eliminate our state income tax. States that have done that have put themselves on a significant path to prosperity. And so I think there are a lot of things that could be done, and those would be my focuses if in fact that were to happen, that there was a vacancy in the governor's office and I had to ascend to that office.